Hello, hello, and happy Friday. It's August 22nd, 2025. I am Manila Chan. That over there is Ted Rall. You are tuned into the Ted Manila Information Show, or TMI Show for short, because we just always bring you way too much information. Today's going to be a doozy of TMI. So, for those of you who are squeamish about lady parts conversations, the second story is not for you. I'm just gonna put it out there, Ted, because I don't know why, but people seem to be okay with talking about male parts and that those are funny, but girl parts, people get squeamish. Just saying.
Gay guys. Have you ever talked to, you must have talked to I've talked to gay guy friends about, stuff like cunnilingus and oh my God, it's like they literally are, you've never seen anyone just more icked
Or
out.
grossed out?
They're so icked out. They're just like, oh God, I can't believe it. Stop. Don't even.
Really?
Yeah, it's really funny.
I don't
You
know
should
that
try
I've
it.
had
It's
any.
really great. You should be like, I love me. And they're like, stop, no.
I don't think I've ever had that conversation with my gay friends.
You should. It's
My
great.
lesbian friends, obviously, they talk about it, but not my gay male friends. So I don't know. But yeah, that's part of the conversation today is some lady parts. I'm just going to warn you ahead of time. But we're also talking about the UN finally making it official, like the worst kind of official news, that there is officially a famine in Gaza. And we'll get into the weeds. Yeah, I mean, who knew, Ted? Who knew that blocking aid into this war-torn region was going to lead to this? I mean, who knew? I'm shocked, totally shocked. But that'll be the first story. Then we'll talk about um, California, always ahead of the curve, Ted. Fashionable, all that stuff, and including bringing back the plague.
Thanks, Callie.
That's fun. That's fun. And last but not least, the alligators are going to go hungry, Ted, because
Sad.
Super sad. They're not going to have the yummy migrants to gnaw on. They have 60 days though before Alligator Alcatraz gets shut down.
It'll be shut down. It will be shut down.
It will be shut down. Yeah, but I'm saying this story is based on the Everglades and the gators. That's why it's being shut down, is for the benefit of the gators. But I feel like if you polled the gators, they were waiting for some yummy migrant meat.
They're gonna have to settle for all those big those pythons that they play with.
Do they eat them?
Oh yeah, no, there's like amazing there's amazing video.
Gator versus python?
Yeah, you know about the pythons, right? Like there's
no.
all these. Oh no, the Everglades are lousy.
It's on a plane. That's all I know.
They're lousy with pythons. The assumption is that they were escaped pet or disposed of pets, and they bred like crazy down there. The Burmese pythons, particularly. They're the yellowish white ones.
Yeah.
And they're pythons.
The pretty ones.
They can get they're all cool. I mean, snakes are cool. Anyway, the thing is, they're big. They get really big. There's no natural predators except, I guess, for the gators, but they're kind of evenly matched. So there are cases where the pythons eat the gators. There's cases where
pythons eating gators.
Oh yeah. They're like, rawr, give me that tasty, yummy gator.
They're that other big. Cases, their mouths can open like that big.
I mean, a python can easily be 20, 30 feet long, right? I mean, so yeah, they're monsters. Now the thing is, so like so they even have a python hunt annually, where Floridians go out into the bog and they grab pythons. This is like a state sanctioned thing. It's a whole thing. I can't believe you don't know about this.
I don't know anything about
the Florida ecosystem is all about alligators and pythons duking it out. My favorite was there was footage of what I think it's a photo. I don't think it's video, but where a python had consumed the gator, but the gator was like, not dead yet. And he chewed his way out of the python, but then he succumbed to exhaustion and died. So they both died.
died.
They both died. It was like an epic clash. Like you're evenly matched,
Peter
down for the count.
Alcatraz.
So it's really, I mean, it's kind of unfair. The pythons got short billing on alligator Alcatraz. It should have been
Oh,
alligator and python Alcatraz,
it's
or at
very
least alligators
non-inclusive.
and the rest, like in Gilligan's Island.
Gilligan's Island.
Yeah,
So yeah, this was a very like not inclusive billing of alligator Alcatraz. Non-inclusive. So
right.
we'll tell you what's happening down there. So obviously we're live Monday through Friday at 10 a.m. Eastern time. So please be sure to hit the like, the follow, the subscribe, the thumbs up, the everything, and share the video so so we can continue to grow this
Like,
weird
follow,
little
and
show.
share, and do it
All of that,
often. Yeah.
all of that stuff, so
Watch
we
us
can
both
grow
on Rumble
our little
and on
show.
YouTube, but do both. I'm not
Just
even
have us
kidding.
playing in the background. Just have us playing. Hey,
Even
I
if you
gotta
don't
ask.
want to listen, even if you don't have time, you put it on. You can silence us. We sound better that way. My voice,
I
especially.
got. I gotta ask some of the rumblers, especially because this is more. This pertains more to Rumble because it's for Rumble exclusives. What do you guys think of a special Rumble hour of a Clovis cam? Like seriously, just Clovis
Yeah, we
for
could
an
talk
hour.
about Clovis, but we would show Clovis for an hour. We would
Because
discuss Clovis's way of life. We would show
Ted is
Clovis doing
convinced that
Clovis related things.
Ted is convinced because at the inception of the interwebs and social media that it began based on cat videos, which is largely true. It was like cat memes, cat videos, it was like cat stuff. And he thinks that people would actually watch that. And he wants to experiment.
Yeah, I think people. I sense doubt, Manila.
So you think streaming viewers have not evolved from the past 20 years to go from cat videos and cat memes? Like, are those still the number one ranking videos?
I
Like
don't know, but they're still very
cat
popular
videos?
online. I mean, so I don't
Yeah.
know. I mean, certainly, I would say that internet taste has expanded, but not left cats behind. Cats are
Hmm.
still a basic thing, but there's lots of other animals as well.
Oh my
The
god, the Rumble. Yeah, this is for Rumble exclusive.
Yeah.
The Rumble room is going, hell yes. Clovis cam.
I told you.
People
Yay! Thank you,
really
Rumblers.
wow. Okay. That's good
Manila,
to
why
know
are
because
you
this
so
is for a Rumble
surprised?
exclusive. Because I love animals, but I mean, I'm more of like the Jacques Cousteau, Nat Geo, like that
Hmm.
kind of animal video.
Hmm.
The cat videos I never got into, even though that
Well,
was like how the
that's
whole interwebs began, based on cat video.
Vintage Lefty says streaming viewers definitely haven't evolved. Scary
Really?
Girl says yes.
There you go. So okay, so we'll play
Clovis will
with
be
it
your
and
moment
see.
of zen.
That could be Ted, like just Clovis hanging out in the window. So okay,
Scary Girl
the
says I will
rumblers
be
have it.
there. Laugh all you want. Clovis is a beauty. That's true. Scary Girl
He
has
is a
good
good-looking
taste.
cat. Okay, so this was specific to the Rumblers because it's for Rumble Premium purposes, and we have to hit
Let's
these
jaws.
metrics.
Let's. By the way,
So we're gonna ask you guys.
before we jaws, a little bit of breaking news. Two major pieces of news, economic news. Federal Reserve Chairman Jerome Powell is
Oh,
signaling that the economy is slowing down, and he may be open to
yeah, don't
dropping
say.
interest rates. Also, the home of
Bolton. Yeah.
John Bolton is being raided. I think they're probably looking for it everywhere in his house to see if his brain has been mislaid or
No, no, no,
misplaced,
no, no, no.
because
No, no.
it's been missing at least since the buildup to the war in Iraq. So
Oh, for that long. Well,
I think
Ted, no, no, no. From
it's
my
been gone,
understanding,
and I think he called the FBI for help to look for it. Maybe his cat ate
from
it.
my
That could
understanding,
happen.
the Bolton home raid began at 7 a.m. Eastern time, and what they're looking for, it's according to what Kash Patel hasn't said much on his Twitter. He just says like, no one's above the law. That's really vague, but not telling us why you're raiding
I
Bolton's
know what
home.
it's about.
Insiders are saying it's about about classified documents that
Yep.
were used in his book. And
That's right.
I'm going to tell the FBI right now, because I know you guys are watching, don't search the house, search the mustache. The documents are hidden in the mustache.
In the stash.
The
Yeah.
stash is in the stash.
Mm-hmm.
I'm just like, has anyone thought to look
Well,
there? That is a mighty bold
do you think
mustache.
in John
Very
Bolton's
thick.
case, do you think that the carpet matches the drapes? Like, you know what I
Oh,
mean?
I don't know. I don't want to think about that. No,
Just wondering. Just wondering. The human walrus.
no. Yeah, I mean, like I said, I
Also, if it's
was
anything like Joe Biden's
handshake
house,
distance.
You gotta look under the car. They
You
could
gotta
be
look in
under the
the
car.
glove box. You gotta look in the weird places, maybe like your
Mm-hmm.
freezer,
Mm-hmm.
like
Yeah.
weird
Although
places.
try
Like,
to ignore all the body parts you're gonna find in that freezer. That doesn't mean anything. That's whatever.
you think Bolton is like a Dahmer?
You know he's got some Iraqis like in there, you know,
Oh,
that
that's
he's eating.
very possible. But again, I'm gonna say it's gonna be like The Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe, where like you open his mustache, pull it
It's really
apart,
too bad that
and
we
it
can't.
leads to like a whole different dimension.
You know, at the Nuremberg trials, Julius Streicher, who was a newspaper publisher of a notoriously disgusting anti-Semitic newspaper called Der Stürmer, he was, I
Mm.
think he was prosecuted successfully for that. Now he didn't personally, you know, shoot any Jews or anything like that. He went down simply for having published a bunch of propagandistic shit. And I think on that point alone, John Bolton should be going to prison just for pushing for war and being such an influential voice, pushing
Well,
for
Ted, then
one war after another. I've never once heard this guy say about any
peace.
foreign policy crisis. If you said like, oh, so about, you know, there's a border dispute between Burkina Faso and the Ivory Coast. I don't even know if they border each other, but let's just assume
I
that
don't
they do.
know.
Like, you know, and so, you know, what do you think? What do you think should happen? He's always going to be like, A, we got to have a war. B, the U.S. has to be
Mhm.
involved, and C, we've got to escalate dramatically. Always, no matter what. No, and it never. He has no other solution. If his wife is like, John, can you pick up a half a chicken breast and also a gallon of whole milk today on your way home from work? He's like, okay, but I need a war. I need to be fully involved. I need to escalate no matter what. And she's like, I just need the chicken. I just need the milk.
Can you
You
just
know,
pick up dinner?
could you
Like,
just like
no, this is
lay
that's true.
off? Yeah.
I don't.
If
Well,
she's like, you know, I need you to get busy with me tonight. He's
he's a
like, okay,
lot.
I
I'll
need a
tell you
war.
because I told you I met him that one time at the CPAC conference many years ago when in Trump's first term, and he's very not like what you expect in person. He seems very quiet and meek almost. But then you see him go on TV and he's running his mouth about killing everybody and dropping bombs
little
everywhere.
like evil Walter Mitty.
Yeah, it just doesn't fit. The guy that you see on interviews on TV, he's like this
Mm-hmm.
spitfire and this angry little old
Well,
man with the big
Rush Limbaugh
mustache.
was like that. Rush Limbaugh was a very
Oh,
quiet man. Yeah. It happens. It happens.
yeah,
We should
in
jaws.
person is
This is my
not like
fault.
that.
But let's jaws it.
All right, let's go to the news.
News, stop the presses. Never heard this one before. The world's leading authority on food insecurity has confirmed a famine in Gaza. In a report published today, the UN-backed group of experts officially finds that over half, and this is disturbing, over 500,000 people in parts of North Gaza are at risk of dying from starvation, like now, like today, like next week, and hundreds of thousands more people face catastrophic shortages as the famine spreads to other areas. As this famine is entirely man-made, well, not really, it's made by Israelis, it can be halted and reversed. It's time for debate the time for debate and hesitation has passed. Starvation is present and is rapidly spreading. The Integrated Food Security Phase Classification, or IPC report says that famine, the most extreme classification of hunger, is occurring in Gaza governorate and projected to expand to Deir, al-Balah, and Khan Younis governance by the end of September. Describing the situation as a race against time, this report says at least 132,000 children under the age of 5 could die from acute malnutrition in the coming months. This estimate has now doubled since the last IPC report in May, showing how drastically the conditions have worsened. Nearly 55,000 malnourished pregnant and breastfeeding women require an urgent nutrition response. The Gaza Health Ministry on Thursday said 271 people have died so far from famine, including 112 people. Manila, that's of course a drastic undercount, because that's only the people who make it to a hospital and get reported officially. If you're doing it in the ruins somewhere and you die, they don't count you. This is the first time famine has been confirmed in the Middle East, right? I'm going to say that again. This is the first time famine has ever been confirmed in the Middle East. This is a very troubled part of the world, and it's happened in a 25-mile long strip of land where trucks piled with thousands of tons of food are parked at border crossings because the Israelis will not let it in. Also, that's not Israeli food or Israeli aid. I want to say this is international food and aid that the Israelis are not allowing in. The Gazans, now dying of starvation, are never more than a few miles from warehouses filled with food that the Israelis won't let them have. This is the direct result of months of deliberate restrictions on aid, the destruction of Gaza's food, health, and water systems by the Israelis, and relentless bombardment. Chaja Doyen McKenna, CEO of Mercy Corps, said, "This is a man-made catastrophe, entirely preventable and entirely unconscionable." Hear, hear. Israel was quick to respond. Israel's foreign ministry hilariously accused the IPC of fake news, of publishing a tailor-made report to fit Hamas's fake campaign. They claim there is no famine in Gaza. I think they got that guy who used to be Saddam's spokesman to speak for them. COGAT, the Coordination of Government Activities in the Territories, the Israeli military organization that is supposed to oversee aid, but basically just blocks it, said the report is based on partial and unreliable sources.
Yeah.
So
Well,
basically, the entire world's press, all of the aid agencies,
who are also starving,
all of the aid
press
agencies,
themselves.
the UN, the ICC, and the ICJ, and 3/4 of the world's nations, and the UK, and Turkey, they're all lying sacks of shit. Only Israel,
Mhm,
poor sad Israel, is telling the truth. The
mhm.
Gazans are stuffing themselves. They need Ozempic. They're so eating so much that they're fat as shit. We'll get into that, what's happening to their vages later in the show. And like everything is a-okay, hunky dory. Those
Well,
kids
Ted,
are just like, they're just refuseniks.
they're
They're not
crisis
eating all the
actors.
yummy treats that the Israelis are
They're
sending them.
crisis actors, Ted.
Right. Crisis
You
actors.
know, that's the
That's
thing.
what they are.
And also, recently, Bibi Netanyahu, he was
Yep. Peter
rebuking.
Ives says Baghdad Bob is now Jerusalem Jerry. That's awesome.
Oh, yeah. Bibi recently was all over the media. He put out basically a video press release saying, everything you're seeing, don't believe your lying eyes. That's not real. None of that. Not only is that not real, the alleged starvation are just kids with cerebral palsy. Like,
Right.
wait, wait,
Because
wait. So let me get this
you
straight.
can't have
Let me get this
cerebral
straight.
palsy and be hungry at the same time,
No,
as
no,
you
let
know.
me get this
Because to
straight.
have cerebral palsy
Cerebral
is to have a
palsy
full
means
stomach
no,
by
cerebral
law.
palsy just automatically means you are malnourished to begin with. That's what we're seeing. He's like, these are kids with pre-existing conditions. So wait. Is the pre-existing condition being that you're born into starvation?
The
Maybe that's
pre-existing
what he means.
condition is being Palestinian.
Hmm.
Robbie,
Hmm.
lead flavored treats are the best.
Oh,
Question: Pink Rose on YouTube is asking us, Manila. Hey guys, how do you think this will stop in Gaza? I mean, I know how
well,
this is.
the
I know how this is
UNGA
going to
starts in
stop.
a couple weeks.
Hmm.
The UNGA starts in a couple weeks. I personally, I don't foresee Washington stepping in to actually
They will be last.
intervene.
No.
Ted and I have been saying this for weeks and weeks since the great white north in Canada came out and said that they're going to recognize Palestine at the UNGA next month. Australia has come out saying that.
France. France
France,
started it.
yeah, that was big. Oh, was France the first one? Yeah, they were big, and so they were instrumental in that. I think of the G7 nations that are part of the UNGA, and I think the US will be dead last and reluctant to even get involved. Um,
No, they'll be the U.S. is their bitter enders. Now the thing is,
yeah.
Donald Trump can read polls, and I know he's paying attention. Um,
But does he
Look,
care though? He's a
how
lame
will
duck.
this end? There's how should this end? This should end with the international community saying this is Rwanda 2.0. We're going to send in the UN with a joint military task force led by Russia, the United States, China, and Iran to invade Israel and overthrow its government and install a UN regime
No.
until a democratic Republic of Palestine from the river to the sea is encompassed with one person, one vote. From the Jordan River all the way over to the Mediterranean. That's how it should
I don't
happen.
it
That's
should.
not going to happen. What's
No,
going
no,
to
no. That's
happen
not.
is that more people are going to die, but at some point, and I think that point, it's hard to guesstimate, but I would say that point is probably around spring of this next year, especially heading into the midterms, with Israel's approval rating in the United States now at 31% and plunging. Um, that Donald Trump is going to read the polls and finally cut off military assistance and financial assistance to Israel. And when that happens,
Mm,
that will basically be the end, because Israel is the biggest welfare state in the world. They
I
are
still
getting
don't believe
$4
that they're gonna
billion
they're gonna get
plus
that
dollars.
far
Well, we'll see.
because
I
the
mean,
power of Mossad and the levels of blackmail and compromat
for sure,
here in
until,
Washington.
yeah, but the thing
No
is,
way.
Manila, I mean, the Roman Empire is undefeatable and rules the world until it doesn't. I mean, that's what happens. I mean, so the situations seem like they're never going to change until they do, and they will. So I mean, I could be totally wrong. I could be optimistic about how quickly this is going to happen. I mean, I'm not really being optimistic. This should have happened a long time ago, but
Well, you were
it's
also optimistic about the Ukraine war ending sooner.
that's true. So I am a perennial optimist. So
You're an optimist.
I
I'm
could be
not.
wrong. I could happily I
I'm
could
Miss Worst Case
I
Scenario.
totally admit that I could be wrong. But if I had to put my own money on this, I would say roughly by May, the Israelis will have been cut off. And at that point, they're going to freak out, and there's going to be a move inside Israel. It'll wake up the Israeli people. It'll wake up the Israeli opposition. They'll get rid of Netanyahu, and then we're going to see some things change. That's what I think
I
is going
do
to
think
happen.
I do think Netanyahu, I mean, part of the reason he has to keep the war going is to try to save his ass from prison for
There's no doubt.
corruption, he and his wife.
No doubt.
So that's part of the reason. But I think I think the US ambassadors and the American UN ambassador is going to come back from the UNGA, come back to Washington and be like, "Look, Donald, here's the temperature of the room. This is where everyone's moving." France, even the Germans are like,
Yeah, even
they're
the
giving this
Germans.
mushy kind of tacit support of a Palestinian
The
state.
UNGA is going to be a game changer, Manila.
So I think they're going to come back with the temperature change to tell Donald, and I
and
think
he cares about
he's going to
polls. You
make
know
some
he does.
calls. He's
And
going to make some calls to
he's gonna
Bibi,
say, cut it out, cut it out.
but the I think the real change, Ted, is not going to be obviously not led by Washington. I think what's going to happen is that Macron, he's also a lame duck. He's going to have to lead the charge, and he's going to have to somehow strong arm Washington into stopping the spoon feed of Benjamin Netanyahu, which will then starve Bibi and push him out of office and throw him to the wolves outside of the Knesset. The people in Israel are very unhappy with him, either for not returning all the hostages, or for his own, because they're opposition, and they don't like how he's been running the country, and his super far right stance, and there's a myriad of reasons of why people in Israel dislike Bibi, um, and they want to see him go to prison. Not
Well,
necessarily for
no,
Gaza,
they don't. No,
for
they
other
don't.
things.
Even the left doesn't care about this. Just a little reminder down memory lane, Manila. On October 9th, 2 days after the October 7th attack in 2023, Yoav Gallant, the defense minister of Israel, said, "There will be no electricity, no food, no fuel. Everything is closed. We are fighting human animals, and we will act accordingly." Don't tell me there wasn't genocidal intent from the very beginning. Israel Katz, energy minister, October 12th, 2023, said no humanitarian aid would be allowed into Gaza. He said, humanitarian aid to Gaza, no electric switch will be turned on, no water tap will be opened, no fuel truck will enter until the Israeli abductees are returned home. On October 13th, he said, we will win. They will not receive a drop of water or a single battery until they leave the world. Israel Herzog, president of Israel, October 13th, 2023. It is not true, this rhetoric about civilians not being aware, not involved. It's absolutely not true. They could have risen up. They could have fought against that evil regime which took over Gaza in a coup d'etat. When you have a missile in your goddamn kitchen and you want to shoot it at me, am I allowed to defend myself? In other words, he's implicating that the civilians are guilty of the regime that, by the way, they didn't get to vote for by his own account. And finally, Heritage Minister, November 4th, just a month after the attack in 2023, Amahai Eliyahu, he said, dropping a nuclear bomb was one of the options. And he said, there are no non-combatants in Gaza.
My
So
God.
now the thing is, let me just say, so a child, a 2-month-old baby who's starving to death is a combatant, according to these
It's an
people.
enemy combatant, Ted.
None of
They're
these
born
people,
out of the womb.
none of the
Allah
individuals,
Akbar, right out of the womb.
none of the individuals that I mentioned has ever been sanctioned or disciplined or demoted or fired since they made those intemperate remarks. None of them. Several of them have been promoted. Okay, so there's no. This was the intent from day one, from
And
hour
Alpine
zero.
Lake,
They always
Alpine Lake
wanted
in
to.
the Rumble Room
They
says
were,
Bibi the Butcher is moderate compared to the rest of the Knesset.
yeah.
That's
Well,
sadly
that's a
true.
fair point. And so the point is, the Israelis have been dying to do this for years. The war did not begin on October 7th, 2023. I mean, you can't pen in 2.3 million people behind a wall. They also cut off the access to the sea so that the Palestinians, the Gazans, couldn't fish either.
Don't dare fish.
And and you can't surround an entire population like that. A place the size of Manhattan with a similar population, cut them
Horrible.
off and say, fuck you, you'll have no jobs, you'll have no food, you'll have no water, you'll have no electricity, no fuel. You just stay there behind there and fucking rot and die, and think that they're not going to try to break out at any point or in time. I'm going to say this, and I wrote it 2 weeks ago. Hamas actually had a moral duty, maybe not to kill civilians, but they definitely had a moral duty to break out of the Gaza Strip and break down that security wall in order to try to liberate its people and change the game. They had to. I mean, they're the governing authority, and their people were being severely oppressed by the Israelis. They had to do something, and they, I argue with the execution of it. I don't think you go after civilians. But look, if they had killed no one but IDF soldiers, I would have had no problem with it at all.
Yeah, I
And
mean,
also, let's not forget
that's an enemy combatant.
A sizable number of the Israeli civilians who were killed by the IDF.
Yes, and let's not forget that a great portion of the youth population that would have been there at this festival,
Right.
are either active or inactive at that moment, IDF soldiers anyway, because it is mandatory.
Yeah,
In
that's
Israel.
true. Yeah, military service is mandatory. Now, I don't,
So it's
but still,
compulsory
I mean,
there.
although I don't want to go that far, because that's kind of like implying that any country that has a draft, that basically anyone who's of military age is a fair target, and unless you're actually wearing a uniform, you're not. So
I agree. I'm not for killing random people at a music festival or kidnapping them or whatever. But I'm even less about uh, this group punishment that Bibi has basically forced onto an innocent population. And by their own count, Ted, by their own count, more than 80% of the deaths in Gaza are children, women and children. 80%. So it's like you can't have collateral damage be this high where it's pushing up against 90% for this long. You can't keep doing that. It's one thing if it was like one airstrike
But
that
the
you
point
said,
is,
okay, the
Manila,
collateral damage was like
this is not
85%.
collateral damage. This is policy, okay?
I
And
know that, but that's what
like,
they're
and
saying.
there's a
The
million
the
you
leak
can.
came out this week. The leak came out that showed that by the Knesset's own count, that over 85% of the accounted for dead, the 53,000 accounted for dead, were actually
I
women and
mean,
children.
look, Manila, nobody's firing back at the Israelis, right? Hamas is in their tunnels. No one's shooting at the IDF. The IDF is doing all the shooting. It's not a war. It's a
No.
slaughter. It's a genocide. It's a
Well,
war
Ted,
in the
it's like when
same
I'm
way.
at war
I
with
mean,
the
we're the
ants in my
w-
kitchen.
well, we're the Jews who were in the Warsaw Ghetto in World War II, surrounded by the Nazis in a wall that the Nazis built. Were they fighting a war against the Nazis? No, they were just victims. That's what's happening here, and
Yeah. All right. All right.
it's
That's yeah, it's a heavy topic, and I do hope we see some actual substantive language come from the UNGA next month,
no one should
for
have
the
anything
first
to do with
time.
Israel. Israel should not receive any foreign aid. It should not receive
Yeah.
any military assistance.
It
No
should become a
intelligence.
pariah state.
It should be cut off. No one should do business with them.
If
Um,
ever there were a pariah
and
state,
And
it
the
should be
irony
them.
here is there's I'll tell you, there is more opposition to Hamas in Gaza than there is to this genocidal policy in Israel from the Israeli people. 80% of the Israeli people support the war against Gaza. There has been no protest
I know.
of any size against the genocide. The only protests you see are because they don't internal domestic hatred of Netanyahu's party. They don't like
Yes.
Likud, and they want the hostages back. And they're saying it's
Right.
only about the hostages. It's all about Israelis. They don't care about the Palestinians. So
Yeah.
I mean, there
That's kind of
have
a
been
uniform thing.
anti-Hamas protests during the war, which has to have been dangerous, among Palestinians in Gaza. So I mean, if anyone wants to make the collateral damage argument, Hamas is in a better place to make that argument than the Israelis are.
Yeah. All right. We got to switch gears to something.
Sorry, I'm in a mood. All right, so
Well, yeah, this is,
let's
I
all
mean,
right, Manila.
horrible.
Let's read about something uh, even more frightening. Maybe not.
It's
Could be
it's
frightening.
gross. It's gross in its own way.
Yeah.
Okay. So I teased this yesterday because it's fun Friday, right? So it's not so fun talking about starving babies in the tens of thousands
Well,
in Gaza.
If you're Israeli, you love it.
Well,
But anyway,
yeah. But we don't love that on this show. Um I'm not sure how I feel about this one, Ted. So there's this new thing, you guys, called Ozempic Vag. Okay. So what is that? So the story goes, first they dropped and then they drooped. We're talking about Ozempic Vag. Ozempic and other GLP-1 drugs have become extremely popular for their ability to manage not only type 2 diabetes symptoms, but spur weight loss. A recent study found that about 4% of Americans took these meds last 4%. Ted, we have a population of about 330 million people. 4%, do the math. Ted's the math person. That's a lot. It's a lot of people taking these drugs.
yeah,
As
that is
GLP,
crazy. Yeah.
what is 4%? So of
Well,
334 times
10% of
3,
330 million is 33
3
million. So 33
33
divided by
million.
4 is about a little bit over 8. So 8 million people.
Wow. Okay, so 4% of America took these meds last year.
Mhm.
So as GLP-1s have become widely used, there's been a corresponding increase in awareness of their potential risks and side effects. And one to add to the list is Ozempic vulva or Ozempic vagina. Quote, the rapid weight loss can cause visible skin sagging, laxity, and wrinkles throughout the body, says
Mm,
Dr. Sherry Ross, an OBGYN back home in Santa Monica, California. Quote, all areas of the body can show visible skin changes in response to significant weight loss, she says, including the lower belly, the pubic mons, and the inner and outer labia. The vagina is surrounded by two sets of lips, as commonly referred to, or folds of skin. The labia majora are the outer, larger folds, while the labia minora are the inner, smaller folds. The extent from the mons pubis, the rounded, fatty area over the pubic bone. Some GLP-1 users have complained that their weight loss has led to a decrease in the volume of the labia majora, causing it to appear deflated or aged. Labia puffing may be the answer, guys, or gals, rather. The procedure restores volume and fullness to the labia majora via dermal fillers or fat grafting. Uh, Dr. Michael Terry, a board certified OBGYN in LA, and of course, all these doctors are in LA, Ted, like no surprise.
yeah, no, that's true.
Notes on his website that the fillers used in labia puffing are comparable to facial fillers. The tiny injections can last up to 8 months. A session per session. So you do one session, you're good. Your labia are looking fine for 8 months, and you don't have any recovery time. He says. With fat grafts, a doctor injects a small amount of fat from the patient's taken from the patient's thigh or abdomen or wherever else that they have enough fat, and then they inject that fat instead of a filler into the labia, or maybe I was always taught it was called the mons venera, but okay, so the mons pubis. Okay, so you
I've heard
inject it
mons
there.
pubis. Yeah.
The benefit of this treatment is that it does not pose risks for rejection because it uses the patient's own fat. The fat is
Now,
easily
if you're in
reabsorbed by the
Israel,
body.
you use the fat of a Gazan child, but that's
No,
different.
there's no fat to remove there,
Oh,
Ted.
right, good point.
Labiaplasty, another option to reshape the labia, and vaginal tightening to restore firmness to the vaginal canal may also provide relief. Dr. Justin Perrone, a, a specialist plastic surgeon in down under, huh? In Australia.
Nicely said. Nicely done.
He's fielded a surge, he says, of vaginal rejuvenation consultation appointments from, I guess, Australia's having a similar problem. The ladies there using GLP-1s, they're dropping the weight and their vaginas are sagging. So I guess Dr. Perrone there is like, he says, I personally see these requests several times a week. Other unusual side effects of GLP-1 drugs, which suppress appetite by mimicking a hormone that the body naturally produces after eating, include Ozempic finger, Ozempic breasts, Ozempic face. I've seen plenty of that. And Ozempic butt. So basically, I didn't understand Ozempic finger, but it was because your fingers, well, obviously, when you lose weight, you don't lose, there's no such thing as spot, losing weight like in spots, right? Like you can't,
Right.
when people tell you, oh,
Yeah,
yeah,
you
you
can't
buy
say
this
like if your
weight loss
stomach,
belt,
"Oh, I need to lose weight off my
right?
tummy, but I don't want to lose weight off of
You
anything
lose weight
else."
everywhere.
Mhm.
So Ozempic fingers, when your fingers get too skinny now and then your jewelry doesn't fit anymore. Ozempic butt starts, your booty starts sagging and the skin starts sagging. So this whole thing though, and by the way, Ozempic costs like north of $1,000 a month, Ted, and you have to be on it forever. You and I have discussed this. Your body immediately responds as soon as you're off of it. As soon as you get off of it. So unless
Mhm.
you're prepared to spend $1,000 a month for the rest of your life, or you make massive, massive
Well,
lifestyle
it's like a
changes.
smoking habit used to be, when people smoked.
God, this is, but Ted, $1,000 a month, like that's outrageous. But so now all these people are concerned, and of course, it's happening back home in LA. where the women are like, "Oh, I'm thin now. I can wear my bikinis and whatever." And then they're noticing their labia sagging down, just
Wah,
looking,
wah, wah, wah.
like, I can't believe, Ted, this is like the excesses of Western society. Like, this is what we're worried about when the story we just last covered was like, "Can I get some water to drink
Yeah,
so
that'd
I
be
don't
great.
die?"
That'd be awesome. Water would be cool. Yeah.
Water would be great. But here in LA, well, not here, but I mean, back home in LA, the women are like, "Oh, my Cartier bracelet doesn't fit my arm anymore. I'm so skinny. I'm so
My
skinny.
my my
I need
my
to get."
my clit ring fell right off.
Oh God. So this is a thing, Ted. Um, what else do you foresee people I mean, Ozempic face I've seen.
Yeah,
I
yeah,
know
we,
some
we have
people.
seen that. Basically, you end up looking like Anthony Weiner. You get an or Cuomo, right?
Oh,
That's sort of like
yeah, that hollowed out. I
mhm.
look,
The Scream
Ted,
poster.
the
Like
non-designer face version of that used to be called methy.
right, right. Good point. That's
I
and
mean,
it's
seriously.
and the thing meth is better because at least you get an enjoyable experience. It's much
That's
cheaper. So it's like
it is
twofer.
cheap.
You're high and you're losing weight.
Look,
So
so the
you also
meth
lose weight
thing,
from your teeth because your teeth fall
where
out.
I was gonna say your teeth fall out, but however, Ozempic does, I think, if I'm not confusing it with these other injectables that you take home, is that your bone density wears down over time.
Okay, but let's all right, let's we gotta break this down. All
But
right,
bones
so
are heavy, Ted. You want to be skinny, right?
like look, Ozempic finger, I can see the practical consideration if you wear rings, which I don't. But
Okay, I
like,
just wear the
okay,
one.
so the question here is, as a person who is takes an interest in vaginas, it's like so
As a
I
vagina
don't
fan,
know as a huge fan. I'm not really sure how to what extent people who are interested in I mean, look, first of all, for the sex part, for penetration, this is not going to have any effect. So this is really about the aesthetics
the
for the
aesthetic.
person who is slurbling the vagina.
Yeah, but like
That's to use a scientific term. So,
how droopy of a vag are we
and
talking
I
here
just don't
though?
know to what I'm a visual person, but I don't know to what extent like the visual is really an important part of the experience. I mean, I'm not saying it
Wait,
is,
what?
it isn't. The visual of the vagina is not like the visual of the boobs is far more front and present, right? I mean, it's like a girl takes
Okay.
her top off and you see her boobs and you're like,
You're like,
okay,
"Oh, wow.
well, yeah, hopefully.
Like nice
Um,
breasts."
and if there's and things are super sagacious, then you're sort of like that's going to be more disappointing. I mean, because basically you're way up in there, right? When you're like
Yeah, but is there
when
a
you're giving oral sex
functional.
to a girl, you don't see anything except for half a
No, wait a
second.
minute though.
You get in there and
Wait a
it's like
minute.
boom, right?
So if let's say you were a
You're
very
surrounded by
obese woman.
thigh. You can't see anything. Your eyes are usually closed.
Who I'm as the sole owner of a vagina here on the show,
Mm, you don't know that.
I think I can guess,
Okay.
reasonably safe bet,
In this day and
that
age, you never know.
I'm the only biological vagina owner on this show. So, I mean, I'm only guessing. I mean, I guess I've been lucky to have been born with like skinny genes, genes. But I would only imagine that if you were a very heavy person, a heavy woman at one point, you take the Ozempic, you lose all this weight, right? And you've seen like the videos of like people losing weight and they got the arm flabby thing, going like underneath the bicep, right? It's like
Hmm.
just skin. It's just
Hmm.
skin flapping around. So in my mind, that's kind of what's probably going on with
Sure.
the labia,
But what
the
but like
outer
how
labia.
but what effect does it have? I mean,
So, well, here's the thing. Here's
in
the
other
thing.
words, who
No, no, no.
cares?
I'll tell you. No, 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 I'll tell you. I can't, in defense of my fellow vain Californians, if you have like the arm saggy skin there happening down under, and now you're thin.
Hmm.
So maybe it's like what happens with men and your testicles and it like droops into the toilet. Maybe. Maybe it's like gets splashed like by toilet water.
Oh,
Maybe
come
it's
on.
uncomfortable in your
That's
underwear. I don't know,
ridiculous.
but I mean,
It would
what do
never,
you how is
it
that
could never go
ridiculous?
that low. It could never hang
How
that
is it
low.
ridiculous? What if your skin I mean, I don't know because there's no pictures of people with Ozempic vag. I can only compare it to the loose, like, this arm flab when people lose weight. That's perfectly like, I can if you're that big and that your labia fat has shrunk that much and you have all of this loose skin, I can't imagine that would be comfortable sitting down in a chair if you have
Riding a bike.
like yeah, so
No, I think
I'm joking that it's
that could have a practical impact for
yeah, so I
sure.
I joke that it's like vanity because we just came off of a literally a
And also,
starvation
who knows?
spree,
I
but
mean, also, I mean, there's an eco balance down there in terms of you need a certain amount of moisture to stay healthy down there, but
yeah, that's true.
and so you want so it could affect your biome. That's
But
all
so Ted,
true.
how come why haven't they brought up, like, can there be such a thing as Ozempic testicles?
Well, I certainly hope not, but
Well, I mean, do men
I don't know that there's fat really in the
oh,
testicles. I mean, the testes are,
it's just skin.
two things surrounded by like
Yeah, the sack.
a thing, a sack of skin. I don't think there's really much fat to be gone, so I doubt it.
Hmm,
I think that it has to be, the reason that like say, you
okay.
have Ozempic face is because there's a lot of fat
Yeah,
like in your cheeks and stuff.
and fat in your face
In fact,
represents youthfulness.
if you remember from the movie and the book Alive about the rugby
Eating
players
the
who
booty?
crashed in the Andes, yeah, they ate the cheeks and the butts first,
Eat the
right?
booty. Oh, I
Both
love
cheeks.
cow cheek. I love cow cheek. Have you ever had cow
Mm,
cheek?
no,
I
that's
forget
not
what
my
it's
kink.
no, have seriously, have you not been to a Mexican restaurant that serves that? It's so tender, it's so delicious. It's a delicacy. It's quite expensive to order that cut, but it's so good. But it's because it's super fatty. So I don't know. A certain level of fat is good. Ozempic, I'm gonna say it over and over and over again. Being on a drug for a lifetime cannot be good for you. Like if you're 30 years old and you're trying to lose weight and this is how it worked for you, I beg of you to change your lifestyle while you're on Ozempic, get used to it, and then get off of it. Like, it's so bad for
Yeah,
you,
but then it
Ted. It is so
all your
bad for
weight
you.
comes back. Yeah, no, I think
No,
it's
no,
like,
not if you completely overhaul your diet.
well,
That's what's
sure.
wrong with America is
Mhm.
we won't overhaul how we
Yeah,
live,
you have
and
to
then we
use it
just
as a
take a needle, like
you have to use it as a if you're gonna use it as a jump start. By the
yeah.
way, Manila, yesterday, there was an op-ed, I believe in the New York Times, that literally was calling not for Medicare for all, but for Ozempic for all. It was literally saying
God.
that every single American should be able to get Ozempic for
We're
free,
entitled?
covered by the government, because it's so great, it's so effective. This is when when you read something like that, that like society has gone off the rails. Because I mean, that's not true, and that can't be
Ozempic for
true.
all.
Yeah, I mean,
Oh
by
my
the way, and
god.
it's so new. The effects are so unknowable, and anything that
Ugh,
you have to keep taking indefinitely can't possibly be good for you. I mean, I remember this
no.
shit about fen-phen. Oh, it's the best thing in the
It
world.
was awesome.
Yeah, yes, and now fen-phen's basically good if you're still alive for a lawsuit settlement, according to all the daytime TV
I
I
didn't
watch.
need fen Ted, obviously, but I gotta tell you, it really was a bump, and it's a lot cheaper than blow.
All right, well, yeah, because it was just speed, basically. Um, I mean, I swear to God, I could find this piece, but you'll just have to take my word for it. We have other stuff to cover, and we should get to it. Like, I just want to say,
Let's
though,
get to it.
from a practical point of view, I don't know that this really, I think if you're a lady and your vag gets like all droopy, it's not going to prevent any good, like healthy, lusty lesbian or heterosexual or bisexual dude from wanting to go down on you. I don't think it'll make any difference. I think it's like, for a half
You don't
second,
think it'll
you
make a
might be
difference
like,
for a betting partner?
ew. And like, look, I'm going to go, and not all vaginas look that great
Ew.
anyway. But like, even the ones that don't look great sometimes taste great. So, and vice versa. So it's more about the
What is
taste
this
and the
show? It's
smell.
Friday.
It's really about the
It's
taste and
Friday.
the smell much more than it is about the
Then the
looks.
presentation?
The
Okay.
aesthetics of the aesthetics of
Is
it are
secondary?
not tertiary. Quite really.
Tertiary?
Yeah,
Okay.
for sure. Yeah, no, taste and smell are what matters here.
The inviting aroma.
Well, I mean, if it was like Ozempic,
I'm a
like,
straight
okay,
woman. I
Ozempic
don't
penis
I'm
could be
like,
a major
"Oh,
problem.
no."
I don't know how much fat there is in the penis, but if it
Yeah, I
shrinks,
don't know.
that could be, then
I'm
it would be
curious to
shrinking like
understand
the
about that.
American dream. That would be bad.
All right. We gotta go more in California, Ted. More in California.
All right, let's go.
That's
All right,
that's a
this one,
you.
oh yeah,
That's a
that's a
you
me. All right, here
story.
we go. A person in California recently tested positive for, wait for it, the plague, according to county health officials in El Dorado. The individual has been treated and is recovering at home. About 7 people get infected by the bacterium responsible for plague, Yersinia pestis, every year, according to the CDC. Most cases happen in the West Coast in states like
Hmm.
Arizona, California, Colorado, New Mexico, and Nevada. In July, however, an Arizonan died from plague. Manila, quick test. Quick test. Do you know where the plague originated? Historically, where it first started. It's not
Aren't
Europe.
there other plagues? Not like the
Well,
bubonic.
the
Oh,
plague, the bubonic plague, the
India.
one that we care about. Close. Kazakhstan. So
Oh,
that's where it's
really?
from, and Kazakhstan still has a lot. And it traveled
Because
along
I
the
know
Silk.
the
It
brown
traveled.
rat
It traveled along the
went from
Silk
India
Road
to
to. It
UK.
traveled along the Silk Road to Europe. All
That
right.
makes sense. That makes
Okay,
sense.
so anyway, people can get it after being bitten by infected fleas or touching
Ugh.
infected animals like rats, mice, squirrels, chipmunks, prairie dogs, rabbits, mountain lions, ferrets, and even, and this is extremely disturbing, dogs and extremely disturbing cats. El Dorado County health officials said in a statement
Wait,
that the
our own pets can carry the plague?
1,000,000%. The health
Oh.
officials say that the person was probably infected by a flea while camping, something that people shouldn't do if they can avoid it. Camping. It's like where a person who has a fully paid rent or mortgage goes out and pretends to be homeless outside. So anyway, plague is naturally present in many parts of California, including higher elevation areas of El Dorado County. That's interesting because Kazakhstan is high elevation. There are 3 types of plague. So in case you see a plague, you'll know which plague that you're seeing. There's bubonic, which caused widespread death throughout the world in the 14th century. Septicemic, which happens when the infection spreads to your blood. And pneumonic, when it gets into your lungs. All forms cause fever and weakness. More than 80% of plague cases in the US are bubonic. Dr. Scott Roberts, medical director of infection prevention at Yale New Haven Health System and assistant professor of infectious diseases at the Yale School of Medicine, says that the bubonic plague is centered in your lymph nodes. The bacteria travels to the closest lymph nodes in the body from where the infection triggering bite occurs, which leads to an inflammatory reaction, including swelling of the nodes. Plague then can then get into your blood, in which case it becomes septicemic, and then from there it can get into your lungs, leading to pneumonic, which leads to shortness of breath and chest pain. Only pneumonic can be spread from one infected person to another, since the bacteria can be transmitted in droplets like COVID that are released when a person sneezes or coughs. This can cause disease in as little as a day after transmission. The other forms are not contagious from person to person. Some species do get sick from the bacterial infection, but others appear to be able to manage low-level mid-infections, which makes them carriers. Now, Manila,
Oh.
cats in particular seem to be susceptible to infection, making them potential
Susceptible.
transmitters to people. Is there a
Oh.
vaccine? There used to be, but neither the WHO nor the US recommends it. The US stopped making the vaccine available in 1999 due to safety concerns. Researchers are exploring ways to develop more effective vaccines. If something happens to 7 people a year, in a country of 330 million people. I'm not sure we all need to get vaccinated for it, you know.
No, no. But it would be good, Ted, just to have the vaccines on tap, like just a couple
And for
vials.
people who live in the Southwest, yeah.
Just a couple vials. I didn't know that it was like a Southwest thing because I don't ever remember being educated about that as a kid. Like, hey, plague can still happen here on the West Coast. Like, no one ever told us that. But yeah, I went down the rabbit hole yesterday of like the weird diseases. I was like, the fucking plague, what? And so apparently a lot of historical yuckies that we thought have been eradicated or just kind of, phased out with the advent of, like sewage systems and stuff like that. They're back on the rise in America. In America. Like, I think I read something like, you remember that brain-eating amoeba we were talking
Oh
about?
yeah, yeah.
It's found in now a total of 23 states in their waters.
Oh yeah, no, that's and it's getting worse as the climate warms because it's a warm water thing. That
So,
protozoa, tasty.
ooh,
All right, Manila, take it
fun.
away for our final topic.
All right. Speaking of warm waters, a federal judge in Miami gave the state of Florida 60 days to clear out the immigrant detention facility, lovingly referred to as Alligator Alcatraz, handing environmentalists and the Miccosukee tribe, is that how it's pronounced?
Uh,
Miccosukee tribe of
you tell
Indians,
me,
a
I guess.
win. A win because they got in this clash with Governor Ron DeSantis over the environmental impacts of this makeshift site. That it was, federally protected land in the Everglades. The ruling late Thursday from U.S. District Judge Kathleen Williams, which forbids state officials from moving any other migrants there, deals a blow to what had become a marquee symbol of President Trump's immigration policy. The environmentalists who sued called it, quote, a huge relief for millions of people who love the Everglades. Quote, this brutal detention center was burning a hole in the fabric of life that supports our most iconic wetland and a whole host of endangered species, from majestic Florida panthers to wizened wood storks, says
Wizened.
attorney Wizened?
Mhm.
I don't know that word. Wizened? Wizened
Yeah,
wood storks.
like for example, it would be used in uh, after I took Ozempic, my vagina was wizened,
So what's a wizened wood
like sort of worn
stork?
out and old, like usually referring to a living person or a thing, like a wizened
Hmm.
crone or something like that.
Well, what a weird way to describe a wood stork. This attorney,
Hey, that
Elise
could be an
Bennett,
Ozempic stork. You don't know that.
could be giving them to the animals now.
Those storks are
The judges,
famously vain.
they should work on that gullet that they have.
Yeah, they're like me. I'm not one to judge.
So the judge's order came just in time to stop it all from unraveling, says that attorney. The state filed a notice of appeal with the U.S. Court of Appeals, 11th Circuit, less than an
Will
hour after
not
that judge.
will not work. Waste of taxpayer money.
Well, DeSantis did not immediately comment. In that ruling, Judge Williams said an environmental assessment was required before the site could have been erected or should have been erected. She says, and DeSantis or the defendants chose not to do that. So she says, yeah, you guys had to do XYZ first, and
Fucking
you didn't do that.
tards. Yeah.
Despite what DeSantis described as a facility that would have, quote, zero impact on the surrounding wetlands, Williams cited testimony, and the project will have, she says, considerable environmental impacts and should have been reviewed by relevant agencies. The project, quote,
Duh.
creates irreparable harm in the form of habitat loss and increased mortality to endangered species in the areas, including the Florida panther. The isolated airstrip sits in Big Cypress National Preserve near the border with Everglades National Park. A 10,000, basically 10,500-foot runway is all that remains of a 1960s plan to build the world's largest airport
People were
there.
stupid then too.
Okay, that's lame. Environmentalists led by renowned Everglades conservationist Marjorie Stoneman Douglas, oh, named from the school, like that's what the school is named after,
Mhm.
managed to thwart the project and get the federal government to protect nearly 1 million wetland acres. The organization Douglas created to fight the jetport, Friends of the Everglades, was among the group that sued over alligator Alcatraz. Now, worth noting, alligator Alcatraz has no electricity, so everything is powered by generators, including portable air conditioners. Drinking and bathing water has to be trucked in. The sewage, trash, and wastewater has to get trucked out. So that's
It's a fucking
fun,
super fun site, that place. I
but
mean,
there
let's not even get
there's
into
no
the
utilities.
human rights abuses, which are frankly, a core feature, not a bug in alligator. That's the whole point of alligator Alcatraz. The fact that you name it alligator Alcatraz tells you everything you need to know. But honestly, these people, Donald Trump and Ron DeSantis, are retards. They should. I mean, look, the Everglades is literally the biggest, most famous, most sensitive wetlands in the United States. You can't build in wetlands. If you have a fucking pond in the back of your house, you have to often have it's subject to federal or state regulations or both. Now,
If you're in
this is
Florida,
the fucking Everglades. So, like, you build a giant facility there. Of course, you have to get an environmental impact statement or 60 of them before you can start construction. They're like, oh, we should do what we want. And I mean, of course, it's going to be struck down. It violates all manner of EPA regulations and federal law. It's got to be closed. I mean, there's no court, including the U.S. Supreme Court, that's going to sign off on this thing. The law is crystal clear. The public interest is crystal clear. People want clean, they want to protect an important national park. I mean, it's literally the lungs of Florida's ecosystem. It's absurd that they built this thing without dotting all the
doing the
i's and crossing all the
impact
t's.
first.
They're idiots. I mean, I don't even understand, like, how stupid would you have to be?
Well,
What a
Ted, I
waste of
think you
taxpayer
know.
money.
I
What a
know.
waste of
It's a stunt.
attention.
It's
It
it's a
was a
total
stunt.
stunt.
I mean, exactly. And DeSantis is already on, building a new one. I don't know where he's going to put the new one. Probably on top of a, endangered reef or something. But I mean, they're idiots. I mean, there should be a penalty for a state legislature or a Congress or a governor. They should go to jail or they should be fined if if something that was brazenly illegal or unconstitutional, they push it through anyway. They don't, check it out first. They should be
Yeah.
punished. I
It's
mean,
just
it's a
so
waste of
dumb.
taxpayer money. That's my main
And
concern here.
well, Ted, I'll tell you where they're gonna go. I'm trying to find I forget the name, which country, but a just this morning, a 7th African nation has made a deal with Donald Trump to accept third country, third party migrants.
Mm,
So whoever the US ships out that are not from any of these African countries, we now have a 7th country in Africa that has made a deal with Donald Trump to say, "Yes, we will take
it's Uganda.
Uganda." Thank you. Yes, Uganda. Now we have
Too
7
bad. Too
countries
bad.
to
Idi
deport to.
Amin's not still there in charge because he would have eaten them.
Oh my god. Oh my god. Just so that's what's going to happen to them, Ted. So right in time, just in the nick of time, Alligator Alcatraz has to close. So we'll just
Mhm.
pick them up and take them to Uganda.
Right.
Why
That's
not?
so normal.
Just
Makes so much sense.
why not? This is 2025. We're worried about vaginal plasties from losing too much weight.
Robbie's right. I don't understand this whole point of why not just send them home. I think
Yeah,
in
I don't
very,
get that
I mean, I
either.
don't get it. I mean, just
To
send
be
them home.
mean. It's just to be cruel. You're
Yeah,
shipping them
it's
to
meant
some
to have a
foreign
deterrent
nation,
effect. And I think
I guess.
what people fail to see, I think deterrent effects are rarely really work, but especially not when you're talking about a population as marginal as illegal immigrants who often don't speak English well or at all. And so they don't really know. They're not watching us here on the TMI show. They don't know what's going on. They don't know that if they get picked up by ICE, they could be sent to fucking Uganda or South Sudan. They don't know. So it's like nothing. You can't have a deterrent effect if everyone's ignorant of your deterrent.
Well, a lot of the rage, and you guys know. Okay, I'll let Robbie's itching to get a word in here. And Robbie,
Shocking.
hold on.
Surprising.
So Robbie, wait a minute. So part of the major influx that we saw came from social media, when you saw a lot of these illegal migrants were like flashing like dollar bills and whatever onto their social media, onto their TikToks, onto their whatever, and they were providing step by, this is on TikTok, right? Like TikTok is cracking down on anybody making judgments about Israel, but TikTok has continued to allow illegal migrants to provide step-by-step like how-to videos, how to come across the US border, how to come through, when you get to Mexico, you take this left turn, and then you go in this tunnel, and then you show up here and surprise, you're in New York City, and then they'll give you, a $3,000 debit card and look at bling bling, right? Those videos like that were allowed to stay up, and that's what all the younger people in these Latin countries were watching during the Biden years, and they took the advice of these TikTokers and came here. Take the videos down.
You put me in charge, I'll fix this problem in 6 months.
I know. Robbie's deterrent system is a full-on alligator moat. Forget the wall. Just put a moat in there.
Well, if you're being invaded, what you do with invaders? Serious question. If you're being invaded, how do you handle an invader? Ted,
it's not a serious question. It's not an invasion.
To hell, it's not.
An invasion is by an organized armed force.
Okay, so we have got millions of people who were shipped by train, by truck, by every means possible here for one express purpose. That purpose is to weaken the United States internally.
No, That's the purpose point. is to make money and find work. That's the purpose of it. That's why, to reduce American wages.
That's literally what I just said.
Okay,
that is literally what I just said.
That's an interpretation.
A report yesterday shows that there's at least the number of unauthorized immigrants in the U.S. has now topped 14 million people in 2023. Under Donald Trump, more than 180,000 people have been deported, reaching almost 1,500 removals per day. That's a clip that we last saw from the Obama administration. So now he's on pace with Obama, getting there.
He still has to catch up. Anyway, it's not. I mean, look, just because something's not an invasion doesn't mean it's not a problem. You're not a nation state if you don't. The whole definition of a nation state is that you control your borders. You decide who comes in, who comes out. Right? That's what a nation state does. And
why are you being racist?
And the U.S. has not been doing that. So, on that point, I agree. But I mean, but the point is, it doesn't make any sense at all when you decide to expel people and who are illegal immigrants, to send them to a third party. It doesn't make any sense at all.
No, I agree with you there. And what the argument is that a lot of the countries these people are from will not take their own citizens back. Okay, fine. If you don't play that game, then I will.
They're going to CCOT. They're going to Uganda now.
Well, I don't care where they go as long as they're not here. But the first place should be back to the shithole from which they were spawned.
Well, the U.S.
That's my point.
The U.S. could pick up the phone and negotiate with these countries.
But is it? Wait, let me ask you guys this: Is the idea of let's say you're from El Salvador, and the Trump ICE goons pick you up, and they drop you off in the new country, the new third country of Uganda. Mm-hmm. You go to Uganda. Well, are you going to make a TikTok video and be like, I'm fucked. I'm dropped in Uganda. Like, I'm in Uganda. But then you also, had he been dropped off back in El Salvador, isn't there a good likelihood that he would just come up the path again
In
through the
which case,
Darien Gap, and
in which case,
or from
in which case
Uganda.
you go Vlad style and you impale him on the
but
Rio Grande.
which I'm saying that
Problem
that's why
solved.
why
You
Trump
said you
is
didn't
saying,
like
let's ship
violence, I
them to
thought.
Uganda. Send them to Uganda, is then they can't hitchhike their way back up the Darien Gap.
I'm all in favor of self-defense, Ted. But my default temperament is pretty much I'm a relatively unviolent kind of guy. However,
Sure.
self-defense
So
is
nonviolent.
something I 100% support. And
That's not self-defense.
to hell it's not. If you're coming to
it's not.
coming to my country uninvited, I have the right to uninvite you.
The person who's being the illegal migrant who was coming into the U.S., they're not really anymore in a significant number. Those people are basically luggage being shipped. If you want to go after the root cause, you've got to go after the entire industry of the coyotes and the governments that allow this.
Too.
I mean, honestly, like for example, the Mexican government allows people to transit across their territory over vast, over thousands of miles, literally.
Sure.
It's like they shouldn't be allowed to do that. If I were the president, I would tell that, President Scheinbaum, it stops now, right? Like you
I
can't
agree.
So to me, that's the cause. That's the root cause of the problem.
Oh, I completely agree. There's no disagreement with
I don't blame the person who's just poor and like lived in Honduras, and then Obama overthrew their democratically elected president to install an asshole and then let the gangs run wild and destroy the country. And that person's like, fuck it, I need work. There's no work here anymore. I'm going to go to the U.S. I might be able to find a job there. I don't fault that person at all. I also do fault, however, the U.S. border authorities for allowing that person in.
Right. There are multiple layers of fault here and failures. Let's agree to that there are several layers and layers and layers of failed policy from so many parts. A lot of it stems from U.S. intervention, let's be honest, from like the 1980s. And that's why you started seeing all the Latinos. The Latinos began walking north.
Hey, we've got an ad. I'm reading it.
All right. So we got to do that, and then we got to bounce.
Okay, here we go. Hey, you. Here's hey, you. There's this video. It's from Chuck Norris. Yeah, it was insane. He's in his 80s, and he still feels like he's in his 50s. It was pretty shocking. He had some pretty cool tips in there on what he's doing, including these 3 foods that he avoids like the plague. He explained all the things he was doing, and it was super simple. They're so easy, and you can do them right at home. When I first saw this, I knew I had to share this with you all. Since what happened to Chuck could also happen for you too. But with any new method, of course, your results can vary, but the video is definitely worth checking out. Watch his method now by clicking the link in the chat or scanning the QR code on your screen. You won't believe how simple it is.
Okay well, then. You got to admit, old Chuck looks great. 85.
Yeah, well,
looks great.
That's true. He does look
good for him. All right. So that's a great way to...
No Ozempic cock for him.
He looks great. He's 85 years old. He's still like lean and fit and has some muscle mass. So good for Chuck.
What do you think? What's he been doing for work for the last 40 years? Do you think? Does he just live?
Do you think he's living off residuals?
That's what I want to know. Or if he's or he was just a good investor and he saved all his money.
That's true. I don't know. His stuff still airs all around the world. You know that.
Oh, that's true. Yeah.
So he probably does get a lot of residuals.
Although most of the world where he airs, I'm sure he's getting no copyright anything.
Right? Well, yeah. Maybe in the Western world, yes.
Watching it on what were those things called? Oh, video discs. You know, the big ones.
The big one, laser disc.
No. There's the video. There's those, and then there's video discs. They're different. Yeah.
Laser
disc. In the third world, they use video discs. They never sold them here.
Oh, I don't.
If you were in a hut in Laos, you'd be watching a video disc.
Video disc. I'm gonna have to look up what the difference is. I thought it was just like lingo, like terminology.
No. It's like. By the way, do you know this? I really hate it. Kids call records. They call it a vinyl. They say, "Oh, I played a vinyl. I got a
vinyl.
A vinyl.
Well, I put on
a vinyl by XYZ band. A vinyl."
Oh, I
It's
haven't heard them use it
disgusting.
like
It
that.
really bugs me. Just like GIF also as a graphic designer,
I know.
a GIF
Technically, it's
is a
GIF.
format,
GIF.
right? It's a format. It's like not just
Yes.
all photos.
No, I get that. Yeah, I know. I know, but that I didn't know the kids are saying it as like I played a vinyl. That
That's what they say.
sounds
Yeah.
weird to me.
No, I think we're gonna have
But
to get
okay.
rid of that entire generation and send them to Uganda.
Those are your son's generation. That's your son's kids,
Bye.
friends.
Off to Uganda.
Bye-bye. Bye-bye. Bye-bye, young Gen
Farewell.
Z. We're starting over with Alpha.
That's
Goodbye.
right. That's right.
All the
Unless they
kids that are
agree.
middle school
One
and
last
lower.
chance. Stop calling it a vinyl. Then you can stay.
That is pretty annoying from
It's
all
a record.
these old Xers. Yeah. It's a record. It's not a vinyl because you can have a
If you want to
vinyl
be really cool, it's an
a
LP.
vinyl seat. Yes. A vinyl is also used in if the kids don't know, like on your dashboards, on like hard vinyl, it could be
Right.
on your old car seats. Like so when you're
On your
saying you're
saggy
playing a
vagina.
vinyl, when you're playing if you're playing a vinyl, that really doesn't mean anything. So
No.
don't say it. That's dumb.
Although language devolves. So here we go.
It
All
really
right.
has. Bootylicious became a word. Bootylicious.
I
And
have no
so has
problem with
skibbity.
I have no problem with bootylicious. Okay.
Skibbity. Skibbity. You
I
have
never
done that.
I
All the
literally had never heard of it
words.
until it became a word, but okay.
Bootylicious?
No, of course bootylicious. No, skittle
Skibbity.
skibbity doo.
It's
Skibbity doo
Skibbity
dah,
Toilet.
skibbity
It's from
day.
Skibbity Toilet. It's those damn Russians. They infected our language with Skibbity. Skibbity Toilet is a thing. It's a Russian design or Russian artist made Skibbity Toilet.
I don't even
And
know what that
all
is. If a
the
skibbity
little
toilet landed on my head right now, I could not identify it.
it's like a floating toilet with like a Max Headroom type character that springs out. The toilet seat opens, the cover opens, and the head pops out, and he sings skibbity skibbity 1 2 3 skibbity skibbity dee boop or whatever. And yeah, it's a weird cartoon of
Oh,
just a bunch of
it's not an ad.
toilets. No, it's a weird meme. And now the kids
Manila,
use
I know you don't
skibbity.
know this because you were not born yet, but in the early 1970s, there was an ad. I think it was like for mouthwash, maybe. But a guy opens up his medicine cabinet, and then a dude head pops out, and he goes, "Hi, guy."
Terrifying.
Yeah, totally terrifying. I'm sure thousands of people died. Yeah.
What the Hi guys. That's Mike Lindell from My Pillow does a weird ad like that where they open the medicine cabinet and he's on the other side of the medicine cabinet.
I have seen that.
And
I
I
never
always think that's
understood, but
the
the
weirdest thing.
politicization. I never understood the politicization of the pillow business, but here we are.
I don't know. But skibbity is now like a reference to like that's cool. So instead we went from like that's cool to that's hot to now that's skibbity.
All
There
right.
you go, Ted. There you are. You guys have a skibbity weekend.
Indeed. What she said.
We'll be back Monday. Thanks for being here, everybody. Adios,
Bye.
amigos. Have a great weekend. Bye.
Thank you. Bye, Manila.
Bye, y'all.